Hey, hello everyone. Hello, hello, hello. It's Lauren Young Durbin, and yeah, there we go. And I'm here for the inaugural episode, if you will, of Tyche's Book Review Series. So I'm super excited to be here, talk about the books that you guys chose, and doing everything all at once. So bear with me. So today we're going to be talking about Think Like a Breadwinner, a wealth building manifesto for women who want to earn more and worry less. And it's by Jennifer Barrett or Barrett. I'm not really sure which way to pronounce it. If you know how to pronounce her last name, let me know. So I just wanted to let you guys know that this was the book that was chosen by, I put up a poll, and this is the book everyone chose. And I was glad because it was one of the top books I wanted to read too. So how this is going to work is that on the weeks that I'm not doing Taiki Talk, I'm going to be doing a book review, and I'm going to be doing, instead of doing, what do you call it? Instead of doing chapter by chapter, like a lot of book reviews do, I can't really see it. Um, but I am going to be doing it part by part. There are four parts to this book. Let's see if I can get it. There we go. Well, you guys get the point. There are four parts to this book. So today I am going to go over part one. It's not going to be super lengthy. I don't have whole lot to say about it. That's why I say now. I can go on and on about things. So the first part, the introduction is called the Breadwinner Revelation, and it was fine. It was fine. The thing that I really liked about that part was that she actually acknowledged that for some women, they didn't really have a choice. Often women of color, single mothers of all races, people who their husbands left them or their partners left them for a reason, and just single women, even now, they didn't really have a choice regarding whether or not they were the actual breadwinners. She's not talking about breadwinner mentality or thinking like a breadwinner, just facts. Are you the breadwinner or not? And I like the fact that she actually addressed that in the preface or the introduction. And I appreciate that because oftentimes people don't acknowledge that there is a large segment of the population who didn't have the luxury of not being a breadwinner, or and not thinking like one. I remember, slightly off topic, but not quite. I remember in my poli sci 101 class at Wellesley, and we were talking about World War II and and our professor was talking about, oh, women went to the workforce and for en masse for the first time in history. A second. I remember raising my hand, outspoken as usual, and saying, I don't know what you mean en masse, but Black women have been in the workforce for ever, sometimes forced to be in the workforce, and sometimes just having to be in the workforce. So it wasn't unmasked for the first time for us. And some other people who were from other similar backgrounds said the same thing. And that was in the late 90s. So people still had the idea of, and you hear it on the History Channel all the time. I'm a nerd. I love history, so I'm always watching the History Channel. So so that is so it started off on a great foot, and I was like, awesome. I like this already. This is great. Chapter part one, which is the majority of what I'm going to talk about today, is called the Breadwinner Revelation. Helps to actually read it correctly. We're going to post it now. The Breadwinner Revelation. And so with the Breadwinner Revelation, she begins talking about her revelation. I can go ahead. This isn't like the best background, but we'll see how it looks. What is that? You know what? we'll just keep it for now. We'll try something different later. So she talks about for her, the revelation she's talking about is for her and how she woke up. They had one child. I think her and her husband woke up and they realized that they lived in Brooklyn and they wanted to no, they had a baby. They had one baby. She had just given birth. And she wanted to move. It was a one bedroom, and they're like, well, we eventually want to live in a larger place because, what are we going to do with one bedroom, one baby? People have done it for centuries, but whatever. We all get comfortable, including myself. But so she was talking about like, and then he lost his job, so she became the breadwinner. And she talked about how she never really thought about being the breadwinner. That wasn't really how she was brought up, and that kind of thing. And I was like, okay, all right, fine, that's fine. But she ends it on a useful note. She says the benefits of thinking like a breadwinner and taking control of your financial future go beyond having peace of mind and money in the bank. Having control of your finances means having control of your choices. It means one, never being stuck in a bad job, relationship, or neighborhood because you're afraid you can't afford to leave. Two, having the ability to say no when you want to and to say yes to opportunities that excite you, even if they may take some time to pay off. Three, knowing you can achieve the life you want, buying your dream home, having a baby, traveling the world, or retiring early without having to depend on anyone else. And finally, four, allowing money to bring you joy rather than stress. So it was a nice start. It was good to hear her background and what got her started along these lines of thinking of like a breadwinner. And I really liked how she ended that introduction was, hey, it isn't just about having money. You're like, oh, I have peace of mind and money in the bank. Here's what that money in the bank can get you. So then part one, the breadwinner revolution. Oh, no, that was the breadwinner evolution, how to transform our limiting beliefs and take control of our future. So here's the thing about this. I'm just checking to make sure that I don't have any questions or anything. That doesn't look like it. So here is my big thing about this. So, oh, go back here. So I am of the opinion that she says that this part is about how to transform limiting beliefs and take control of our future. But the fact of the matter is that a good 80% of this book or this part, and it's chapters 1 through 4, I believe, yeah, 1 through 4. Um, it's just a regurgitation of basically the same stats. Not a fan of that. I love a good stat as much as the next girl, but my goodness, how many different ways can you say, oh, women make less? Women, we weren't brought up to think about being breadwinners. We weren't brought up thinking about, um, you know, all these different things that go into how being a breadwinner, and parents spend more money on boys' education and allowances than they do girls, and people get divorced and people find themselves suddenly in this and being the breadwinner because they're I forgot how old her friend, late 30s, and decided to have a kid, or their husband left them, or they decided to get divorced because they weren't happy. And that's fine for like a chapter worth, but I really didn't need 2.5 to 3 chapters of that. And I was like, oh my gosh, I promised I would read this book, but this whole book is like this. I'm gonna do it because I said I'm gonna do it. I'm a woman of my word. But um, so I wasn't thrilled about that. But just when I thought, getting tired of this, I'm just gonna have to take a deep breaths and get through it. Um, and chapter 2 is called What's been baked into us, questioning our assumptions about money. Chapter one was called or is it? No, chapter one is called The Breadwinner Next Door, the new face of today's primary breadwinner. And I said chapter two is what's baked into us, questioning our assumptions about money. Now, these two chapters really could just been one because it's the same thing. It's really the same thing. That was when she was going on and on and on about the same statistics. But what I found super interesting at the end of chapter two, what she talks about, and I was like, you know what? That is so true. I hadn't thought about that. She says that girls are taught how to budget. Women, girls, throughout the age groups are taught how to budget, and boys are taught really how to invest. And she talks about how in magazines, women's magazines versus men's magazines, and women's magazines, they talk about budgeting and how to save up for a trip to Cabo or some trip. Uh, Things that you invest in are things like clothes, investment pieces, things like that. And I'm like, that is so true. Yeah, that's true. And whereas with men's magazines, they talk about investing in real estate, how to become a millionaire, and those types of things. And it was super interesting. And so she said, what are women encouraged to invest in? Our wardrobes. Google women's investment fashion pieces, and you'll pull up more than 28 million results, including headlines like 30 investment pieces every working woman should have by age 30. And Goop's Invest Wisely, 110 classic pieces that pay dividends. It includes a super expensive shirt dress, but really we shouldn't expect anything less from Gwyneth. And she said, meanwhile, men meanwhile, get headlines like how to become a property millionaire, that's Esquire, how to make $1 million, G, GQ, and investing in these stocks invest in these stocks now can make you a millionaire retiree. That's in fool.com. And so I hadn't thought about that, but that was really true. And yeah, that's still true even now. This book was written in, I think, 2020. Let me check real quick. Yeah, 2021. So this book was written 3 years ago, and it's still true now. And that's disheartening. But so right at the end of chapter two, she pulled me back in. And then chapter three, she threw me back out because chapter three is the joy of breadwinning, the underreported upside of making more dough. And when I said she threw me back out, it's because we went back to like saying the same kind of stories over and over and over again. And in this case, the story is about how the effects having a woman being the breadwinner will have, and how in the media and entertainment we see um, that marriages break down, and in real life marriages break down, and and men cheat more, and those are the headlines you see, and things like that. And I said, I'll look at the headlines, offered some clues. Okay, so why would so many women sabotage your ability to reach their full breadwinning potential? A look at the headlines offers some clues. Men with breadwinning wives more likely to cheat. More on CNN. Men stress out if they're not the breadwinner. Blared New York Post. An article on Eat asks, can a female breadwinner have a happy marriage? And it says it seemed noted the University of Chicago researchers that gains in women's earning potential and labor participation had outpaced slow-moving social norms and concepts of gender. And so she goes on about that and quite a bit. That's basically what what the whole chapter is about why women think they shouldn't in heterosexual relationships, I should point out, feel that they shouldn't be breadwinners, or they stop themselves from being it, or they sabotage themselves, or um, they think it's bad luck. Not bad luck, but it's not a good idea. And it's like, okay, all right. Well, now we're going to get to the empowering part, because now we've had three chapters of basically her just saying being a breadwinner sucks. And uh, here are the various reasons why. Here are the stats that have shown what happens, why people are breadwinners, how many marriages are broken up. It's just stat after stat after stat, but it's the same stat. It's like the same three or four stats, just different variations of it. And so page 4 is actually when I started getting interested. Yeah, right when I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired of this. Like, this is awful. She pulls me back in. So chapter 4 is getting to the part that I'm interested in. It's just called Dream Bigger, Visualizing the Financial Future You Deserve. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm about manifestation, visualization, and all that woo-woo stuff, because it works. It does. You have to believe it works for in order to work, but your thoughts become your actions, and especially the thoughts you tell yourself. And I tell my clients that all the time. So in this chapter, she's finally starting to talk about how to become a breadwinner, how to change your mindset, because everything, even outside finances, begins with the mindset. So, on chapter 4, she starts talking about changing your mindset. How do you change your mindset? How do you identify what it is that you want, and why do you want it? And so she talks about, and again, this is another exercise I do with a lot of my clients, visualizing, write it down, make it happen. Um, what do you want your life to look like in a year, 5 years, at retirement, whatever? You can choose the time period. But I always say start out with a year, because that's it's a little more realistic. But maybe you want to do 5 years and you walk it back. But anyway, so she talked about how that's the first step. And then you go through and you think about, like, okay, how does it feel? How does it feel to have the job that you want, doing the things that you want, living in the house that you want, having going on the trips you want, whatever it is important to, what's important to you, whether you're married, whether you have kids, whether you're single, whether you're in a same-sex relationship, doesn't matter. What is it that you want? How do you see your future? And so she ends this chapter. Oh, she says, well, we can use other techniques too. So there's a part where she starts talking about self-doubt and self-sabotaging beliefs. It's also called limiting beliefs. So she details, I think there are 4 different, maybe she just talks about 2, but I thought it was 4. So she talked about 2 big ones, which are limiting beliefs. The first one's limiting beliefs. And it's basically when you think to yourself, I can't do this. I shouldn't do this. I, that's a lot of I can't. And we make excuses about why we can't do something. And it's because it's putting limiting beliefs or limits on yourself and what you can achieve. And the second one is inner critics. And you're like, oh, I can't, different way of saying I can't. I'm horrible at this. I don't know enough. I can't go back to school. You're just constantly criticizing yourself. Like, we all have done that. And it just holds you back. So she talked about how to fight against those. And I found that really interesting. Oh, there is a third one. It's called shoulds. It's when you tell yourself, I should do this. I should be a stay-at-home wife or mom, even if you don't want to. If you want to, God bless you. Do what you want to do. Do what's right for you. Do what's right for your family. I think that's great. But I'm talking about you thinking you should do that, as opposed to that's something you actually want. Or flip it over, you're thinking, I should have a career. When really what you want to do is put your time and energy into your household. So it could go both ways. Same with being working moms as opposed to stay-at-home mom. It can go both ways. So she ends it. This is the first time we come up to an exercise, and it's like, what values drive you? It's 100 values. And I have this book in all the forms. I have it in the hard copy, which is what I'm reading from right now. I have the ebook version, the Kindle version, and I have an audio, so that way I can kind of listen to it whenever I have a chance, wherever I am. But so I was finishing up this chapter by listening to it, and I'm not gonna lie, I did skip the listing because she lists all 100 values, and I'm like, I have the book, I can read it. But it starts with accountability and ends with wisdom. So if you get the book, go ahead and that's the first exercise. I'm assuming there's going to be other exercises. And so that was pretty much the end of part one. Um, and I'm really excited about where we're going to be going because now we're getting into the nitty-gritty of the book. Part two, breadwinning basics, how to build a financial foundation to support the future you want. So these chapters are talking about the action steps you can take in terms of investing. So I'll next in 2 weeks, I'll be discussing chapters 5 through 7. uh, Chapter 5, more savings equal more choices. Why building a safety net is key. Chapter 6 is give yourself some credit. How to leverage it responsibly to your advantage. And chapter 7 is invest in your future. How to make your money work for you. Now, I would not be surprised if a lot of this is, well, it's called basic, but a lot of this is just things I already know. But I'm hoping that, like in part one, when it gets to the point where I'm like, okay, okay, we get it, she'll surprise me, pull me back in with some nuggets they'll be good. And I'll be sure to pass what I learned on to you guys. So I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Let me check and see what that date actually is. 2 weeks. I think that's the 23rd. Let's see. Yes. So the next book review episode will be July 23rd at 3 p.m. Um, again, I had another call, but so it'll be on the weeks when there aren't Tyche talks. So it'll be Tyche talk one week, book review the next week. So I look forward to seeing you guys and join me for Tyche talk next Tuesday, or I guess Tuesday, yeah, next Tuesday at 3 o'clock. And we're going to be talking to Marty Constant about career agility and AI. So that's going to be next Tuesday at 3 o'clock. And then the following Tuesday, I'm going to be talking about part two, breadwinning basics. The second part of Think Like a Breadwinner. If you want to read along with me, or after hearing me talk about the book, you think it'll be a good book to get, there's going to be a link. There's the link in the comments. So it's an affiliate link. So I could possibly earn, some money, but not a whole lot. But yeah, so if you want to read along with me and get the book, you can click on my affiliate link in the comments and we can read it together. And I would love that, or if you can get through Libby too. I don't know if you guys have Libby. Libby is the library version of ebooks, where you can either read it on your Kindle app if you don't actually have an actual Kindle, or you can just read it on whatever e-reader you have. But you can borrow it from your library. You can see if your library has it. That's Libby, Libby. You can get the hard copy. The link would be in the bio, or you can get Kindle too, the Kindle version. So yeah, if you guys decide to read along with me, join me. And or if you can't for whatever reason, leave comments below. Tell me what you think about the review, about the book, what questions you have, and I'll be sure to read all the comments and respond to questions or anything like that in the next book review on July 23rd at 3 o'clock Eastern PM. Wait, 3 p.m. EST. All right. Talk to you guys later.